This FIFA World Club Cup outright picks edition of the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Edge Boost, the bank account built for bettors. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet with the promo code SGPN and get a free Refs Are Terrorists t-shirt. Claim your shirt at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/refs. Oh, he's done it again. Stop pressing the button. Oh, my God. Press the button. You do it. My hands. This is the system, innit? Welcome, everybody, to the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is Monday, 9th of June. Went to Bladen Races, Barry. We are here too. We're going to have two preview shows for the Club World Cup, which everyone is incredibly enthusiastic about, judging by the comments already and by Barry's general disposition. We'll do an outright pick show tonight, and then we'll do some group stuff and some specials, goal scorers, etc. on Thursday before the games kick off next Sunday. Joining me from somewhere in Nottinghamshire is Mr. Barry Penaluna. Barry, we've got to sort that system. The hands in the air system's got to be the best system, because I thought you were going to press the buttons. Then I thought you were a bit slow pressing the buttons, so maybe there was some confusion. And then what happened three times is we obviously both pressed the button like a nanosecond apart. So I started it and you stopped it. Then you started it and I stopped it. And then it was just a shambles. I mean, we haven't done we've missed one episode, Barry, and it feels like we've never done this. This is episode 283. We've had 1 week off, and it feels like we've never, ever done it before in our lives.
Yeah, that was a shambles. But yeah, quite right. I thought you were pressing the buttons and then you didn't do it, so I thought I'd do it. But anyway, we'll have it nailed by the end of the summer probably.
Well, I think we had them just in time for them to change everything again, and we have to do something different. I think in future, Baz, the hands in the air system, the FBI, put your hands up. If I'm doing this, you know I'm not touching anything. So there you go. Yeah, Club World Cup, Barry. I mean, you, when I messaged you this week, didn't seem particularly excited about doing it. I don't know if you are yet. Harry's in the chat. Chelsea are playing. I even messaged Harry this week and he hasn't replied. Just saying, Harry, they're asking him for a Chelsea angle in, and he hasn't got back to me. He doesn't even know how Chelsea are playing. It's in Joe Dollar's back garden. He's not going to watch it. So there's not a whole... Do you know what? I really enjoyed... Once I got into it, it didn't really matter what it was. That handicap in a tournament is the same. It doesn't matter what it is, because we've done the Euros, we've done the World Cup. We started with the World Cup, didn't we, all those years ago? And I got that vibe off it. I love the analysing, getting the 32 down to 16 and long shots, dark horses, all of that malarkey. Tiger, my Brazilian correspondent, sent me a load of good information about the South American team, so I appreciate that. Thank you very much. We'll get into that in a little while. Pete's Picks joined us in the chat as well. Pete, how you doing? But yeah, we did have a week off. We lazily, Barry, I think we's correct. I can bundle you in with me in this. We lazily decided there was nothing to do over the weekend, so we just had the back end of last week off. And it turns out there was actually fucking loads we could have done, Baz. We just didn't look. We decided in our minds without actually looking. There was the whole Nations League malarkey. There was loads of other World Cup stuff. So we could have done actually just as much as we normally do. We just decided not to. So it's been a little while, Baz, but what I've written down here, Baz, is what do you want to talk about? And I've given a little list of things here. So what do you want to talk about, Barry? Ange Postecoglou?
No.
You don't want to talk about him?
What's the point? We talked about him loads, haven't we?
Fair enough. We did get the 9-10 Jack last week.
Sounds like you do want to talk about him. So what do you want to say?
Nothing much. I just want, like, my stupid Spurs fan mate who sat and watched the cup final in here with me a couple of weeks ago messaged me saying, "Oh, Postecoglou's gone. Can you believe it?" I was like, "Yes, of course I can believe it, because he was rubbish. They got humped every week. He went actually mental, and he did nothing but tell real live lies since fucking the back end of November. So yes, I did believe it. So that was the end of that.
Like in the build-up to the semi-finals and then the final of that competition, everyone seemed to be of the opinion that Ange Postecoglou was going to get sacked regardless of whether he won that tournament.
Yeah.
He won the tournament, and suddenly lots of Spurs fans thought he shouldn't get sacked. I think most Spurs fans won't really care. Really. Like, I know you've won a tournament, you've won a competition and that, but the vast majority of it was grim. But Thomas Frank's a favourite, isn't he? No surprises there. Apparently,
why not?
Today.
He's got quite a good track record of improving players, Thomas Frank, but that's not necessarily the Tottenham way. That's the sort of thing that works at Brentford, Brighton, Fulham. Marco Silva's a similar type. He improves players. Not sure it's the kind of thing you want at Tottenham. So there you go. The Bacchus family have joined us, Courtney and Patrick. Welcome along. Barry, do you want to talk about England?
Probably even less interested in that, I think. So, no. You know what it is? I didn't even realise England were playing until I was at the football club all day. It was presentation day. I was a very busy man because I'm a volunteer at the club, obviously. So, working my backside off all day there, and then walked into the bar at 5 o'clock, and there's England v Andorra. I could not have told you. If someone had said to me, "Do you know when England are next playing?" I wouldn't have known. And if you'd asked me who the next opponent was, I wouldn't have had a clue. So I was very surprised to see they were playing Andorra. Even more surprised to get home later that evening and see it was only 1-0. But who cares?
Actually, I'm pleased you mentioned they have got a game tomorrow. England. They're playing Senegal.
See, I wouldn't have even known that.
In a friendly.
That's
Nottingham, Baz, you don't go in.
Yeah, funnily enough, someone did mention that to me yesterday, that they're playing at the City Ground. And again, I was totally oblivious to the fact that was going ahead as well.
I'm just having a look at the lines now, though, because Senegal are in decent form. They haven't lost a game since January 22. 24, 22 is a long time ago. January 24, which was, I think, was a penalty shootout against Ivory Coast in AFCON. They've got some good players, Papsar, people like that. They're 6-1. Let's have a look. Yeah, 6-1 to knock England over tomorrow. Draw no bet. I'm just doing this on the fly. It just popped into my head when you mentioned it. I hadn't written this down. 9-2, Senegal draw no bet, Baz. I just think they're absolutely. If England play any way like that, I just didn't understand any. I don't care for one thing. I was at a presentation as well. More of presentations. It's something I'm going to comment on in a minute. But I was at another one all day, and then we went to the stack afterwards, and it was on in the stack. So I was aware of it because there was screens literally everywhere you looked. But I didn't understand why England have got 3 brilliant right backs, and he played none of them right back. I didn't understand. He played the wingers in the wrong position. And why on earth would you just pick Jordan Henderson in front of 150 other central midfielders? I reckon everyone in the chat here, Callum, Joe Dollar wouldn't be allowed. He hasn't got the right passport. Harry could have played in there. You, Baz, you could have done a job there in the guard dog position instead of Jordan Henderson. I didn't. It's fucking baffling. And if that idiot's going to do that, not again, I don't care. I just thought the whole thing was complete and utter bollocks. Just what's the point? Barry, do you want to talk about the Nations League?
Well, given that I didn't want to talk about Postecoglou or England and just talked about both
Just
of them,
establishing, Baz.
I feel like I'm going to have to say yes.
Well, you don't have to, Barry. If you want to say no, you say no. Because the fact is, I can say things, then you can reply to that.
Yeah, I mean, no would be the
Right,
answer.
okay.
But feel free to crack on, and I might be able to chip in. I watched the penalty shootout, and I saw one of the goals in normal time. Other than that, not a lot to add.
That was a bit mad, wasn't it? Because obviously there was the 5-4 game on Thursday night in the semi-final, which was a wild one.
See, I didn't even know
I changed it off
that.
at 2-0 because I thought it was done and dusted. My main takeaway, because it's like a fucking international charity shield. No one gives a shit. My main takeaway was I haven't missed having Cristiano Ronaldo in my life one single bit. What an absolute tit he is. Could you be asked to be so demonstrative and performative the whole fucking time? Look at me. Fucking can't abide him. He's got on my tit end since 2007, and I thought it had gone away, Barry. And then for one night only, he was back. Fucking absolute helmet of a blow. He's 40 fucking one. Grow up. Absolutely. Really wound me up, but
as I say, I didn't watch much of it at all. I caught the penalty shootout and part of the second half. But I noticed at the point Portugal won it, and everybody else runs to their fans, and he just on his knees crying on the touchline on his own. And I thought the same. I was like, why is it always got to be him as the centre of attention? Just go and celebrate with your teammates like everybody else has done. Just be normal. It's bizarre. And it's the fucking Nations League. Nobody cares. Who won the last Nations League, Malcolm?
No one knows.
Who won the one before that? I don't know. Maybe there wasn't one before that. Nobody cares. Nobody will ever remember that in the future. It wasn't something worth crying about, that's for sure.
Callum's asking if he's going on the tit list. I'm going to say no, just we want to forget about him. We need it. Like Jurgen Klopp was not allowed on the tit list for that reason. I think he went in the Hall of Tits. That's a possibility. But for a one-time offence, it was just a reminder, and it gives you all the flashbacks of him. Obviously, Man United humping Newcastle for years on end. That's where it stems from. I'm not pretending it stems from anywhere else other than that. But you can tell it got me agitated because I'm normally quite a placid fella. The only other football thing I have got here, I've got a bet, Barry. This is a gambling podcast. I have put £8.70 on Sweden to win the World Cup at 150 to 1. Do you have any strong thoughts on that, Barry?
No.
Excellent. I mean, Isak, Gorkies, Elanga, laying them on. Goals, isn't it? You just need goals to be able to win a tournament. So, yeah, £8.70 at 150 to 1. That'll sort us out. Right, we'll get on to some lifestyle here. We'll put the world to rights in a bit. This could be an epically long show.
I've got a quick one for you, Malcolm, football related.
No, go on.
I visited a football ground last week that I don't think you will have visited. Can you guess where it was?
I'm going to say it was Bramley Moor Dock. What's it called?
The fact that you I was in Liverpool was probably the spoiler. I had a little stroll up there. I woke up early one morning, 6:30, wide awake in my hotel room. So I thought I'd go out for a stroll. It's about 1.5 miles walk up the road. So I woke up. Yeah, it looks quite impressive from outside. You couldn't get that close to it because they were still building stuff around it. But yeah, it was quite a nice looking stadium from the distance. So yeah, that was my Tuesday morning stroll, 7:00 in the morning, walking around Bramley Moor or whatever they want to call it, the Hill Dickinson Stadium, I think it is, isn't it?
Oh, that was it, yeah. Well, if you remember, Baz, we've had this conversation before because I have never been to Liverpool. The city of Liverpool, I have never set foot in. And I don't really know how or why because I found myself in most places, whether it's football, stag do's, general shenanigans, work. But never, ever, not just for football, never at all. So I haven't been there. Baz, very good. Up the Oldham. Absolutely, totally agree with Up the Oldham. I think the last time we did the show was that the very day that
it was
that Oldham got that remarkable fight back and won in the playoff final. Luke joined us very briefly, but I think it was slightly worse for wear. I wouldn't be surprised if he's still slightly worse for wear because that was very exciting. So well done, Luke. Welcome along. What? Right, yeah. So, what's been happening, Baz? You just mentioned presentation days, and it's just kids' football, Baz. It's not a great time for kids' football, is it? Firstly, presentations. I think I've done 4 now. You said it's an all day. When did we normalise the? It's like fucking Glastonbury. Why are we normalising the massive giant presentation of 11-year-old children participating in sport? And I know why it is. It's to make the club money on selling tickets and beer and all that. But it's because Bob plays for 3 different teams as well. Like I say, on Saturday was my 4th one. And it's split into sections because the clubs are so big, there's that many teams. I said, what time are we? Our slot, Barry, on Saturday at the Civic Centre was 2 till 5. 2 till 5? I know. 3 hours, Baz. These are the under-7s, the under-7 girls who finished 9th in Division 12. Hey, well done. Yeah, and here's the under-8 boys who finished 14th in Division 7. Hey. And the top scorer for the under-9. Like, honestly, absolutely unbearable. And that's 4 times now, Barry. We did go to the Stack afterwards. Have you been in the Stack, Baz?
Nope, not yet. I might go this weekend, though. I'm up that way.
Do you know what? It was actually all right. I thought it might have been a bit shit. You know me, I'm a bit miserable. But it was all right. I quite enjoyed it. The boys quite enjoyed the girls, like the young lads. We took the young lads were allowed in before 7. They very much enjoyed the hen-dos and stuff like that. There was a lot of tits and arse for the 13-year-old boys to lock away for later use. But one of the mums, Baz, one of the football mums, who I never speak to, I always smile and nod and say pleasant things to. She'd had a few glasses of wine by then, so she came up and was all full of chat and introduced me to her friend. And she told her friend, Barry, I was a magician. No idea where that came from at all. Yeah, exactly. So then our mates are asking me to do tricks. Well, I'm not a magician, Barry, as you well know. I don't know any tricks. Whether she got the casino thing twisted somewhere, but she was determined I was a magician. What else? Yeah, open sessions, kids football, open sessions. You're not allowed to call them trials anymore. You have to call them open sessions. I think we've been to 5 or 6 of them. I've been inundated with stupid messages of other coaches, of people, of parents, contract offers and all sorts of rumour and counter-rumour. And then eventually, I think we got Bob settled over the weekend. Decisions were made. And I received like 5 different messages today off the coaches. And I just 100% disagreed with every word of everything. It was just instantly annoying. Part of the problem is, I think I know best. Well, I do know best. I know best. So whenever anyone says anything to me about football, it's like they've read me mind, flipped it around 100%, and then sent me that message just to annoy us. So that bugged us today. And finally, Barry, this is good. You'll enjoy this. I got down to the final 40 applicants to present the FIFA Club World Cup on Czech television. But I haven't heard back since then. So I got down from 100 to 40, which is quite a decent effort. I don't know what the other 60 people had done to be beaten out by me, Baz. But yeah, that's fallen by the wayside as well. At one point last Friday afternoon, it looked quite promising, but that's gone as well. So that's me caught up, Baz. Anything?
That's a little unfortunate, that, to get your hopes up. But well done for trying. You know what I mean? Put your name in there. Got to throw your hat in the ring. Got to be in it to win it. So better luck next time. Maybe you'll get the World Cup gig instead. Who wants the World Club Cup anyway? Nobody.
Yeah,
cares.
I know. You're right. Like,
yeah, not a lot more from me. I had our presentation it wasn't anywhere near as bad as that. We have it at the football club, and each team gets like a 20-minute window to present their thingy. So actually, if I wasn't a volunteer of the club, I could have turned up at 11 o'clock and watched Chloe's. And I could have turned up. I stayed there and watched Sophie's for 20 minutes and then gone home. So Helen only had to turn up for an hour for the 2 kids' presentations, which happened to be back to back. So they were there from like 10:30 till 11:30. But because I am a coach and the club treasurer, I had to volunteer to help out all day long. So I was there from 8:30 till 5:30, which wasn't ideal. And then yesterday, that was my Saturday. And then yesterday, Chloe was refereeing in a tournament in Newark. 8:30 she had to be there, finished at 5:30. So I was there all day long whilst she refereed the football. She got paid £100 for her efforts, and obviously I just got to sit around all day, twiddling my thumbs, watching loads of 11-year-olds play football. But so yeah, a full weekend taken up by football club activities, despite the fact we're now in the closed season and we should be switching off for a little bit.
Yeah,
Someone
there's
actually
none of
messaged
that,
me
mate.
today, said, hope you're enjoying the lull in football and activities, to start off the message. And I went, what lull? I've just spent 15 hours at football clubs this weekend for no good reason.
Do you know my Newark fact, Barry? My fact about Newark?
No, is it something to do with a civil war?
It's the only town in the country that's an anagram of wanker. So there you go. You can use that, Baz. Next time you're there, you can tell the people. Right. We'll move on. I'm going to tell you first. Stanley Cup, College Baseball World Series, NBA Finals, all being covered on the SGPN app. So get that wherever you get your apps. And we are brought to you by Edge Boost, the first ever bank account built for bettors, ensuring all gambling transactions are approved. No usage fees, no minimums. Cashback rewards, 100% approval for all betting deposits. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet. The promo code is SGPN. Last week, to sign up and get a free Refs Are Terrorists t-shirt, go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/refs to claim your free shirt. And the Circa Ultimate Fantasy Football giveaway, unbelievable venue. I spent an afternoon in the sportsbook in Circa. It's absolutely heaven on earth. 12-person league can draft in a cabana at Stadium Swim. There's a $5,000 tab for you and your 11 league mates. And all of our listeners can get 15% off at all times at any Circa property with the promo code SGP15. So enter the Ultimate Fantasy Football contest for free at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/circa. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CIRCA. Right. Club World Cup starts on Sunday. Outright tonight. Group stuff later in the week. I quite enjoyed getting stuck into it. And I'm now, as a result, quite looking forward to watching it. A lot of the games are sort of friendly bedtime-ish sort of thing. You can watch 10, 11, 12 o'clock. Baz, was your enthusiasm in any way bolstered by doing a couple of hours homework tonight?
No, I mean, that's quite optimistic of you to suggest I've done a couple of hours of homework for this, Mark. I'll be honest with you.
I'm trying to pull the wool over the eyes of the paying customers, Barry.
No, I'd probably spend a good 45 minutes on it. And to be fair, we're only covering the outright. So I will spend more time on it as the week goes on, ready to look at some more interesting stuff. And at that point, maybe I will get a bit more up for it. I just can't. I'm struggling at the minute. Maybe once it gets going, I might show a bit more interest. But at the moment, I'm just not sure what to expect. I think the timing of it leaves a lot of question marks over how much teams are actually going to put into this or players are going to put into it. I think in a non-Euros and a non-World Cup year, the players can rightfully probably expect to get a decent break for once. And having been thrown straight into a pretty dull weekend of international football for most teams. And then a load of them now having to go to this for several weeks. I do wonder how many of them will be up for it. I mean, the England game the other day was a prime example of how much of a challenge it is to try and get players up for it at this stage in the season. And it's different if you've got a World Cup or a Euros there where there's the sort of big prize at the end of it. And as much as FIFA have thrown everything at this competition, it just doesn't have that prestige yet of a World Cup or a Euros. FIFA will try and make out it's an equivalent thing for clubs. It's not even as big as the AFCON or anything like that. So for players, I just can't see it being that big of a deal for them. And I think clubs, it's different. There's money at stake, tons of money at stake. And let's be honest, that's what it's all about here. But World Club champions, what's that going to mean for any of these players? Nobody's going to care. I mean, it doesn't mean anything, does it? You don't even have the champions of England, Spain, Portugal, or Italy here. So any claims to suddenly be the best team in the world because you've won this are going to be under question straight away. As I say, the clubs will be interested. I'm not sure about the players. So I think it leaves a lot of question marks. There'll certainly be angles to get in from a gambling point of view. So that'll perk my interest a little. And maybe once we get through the first round of games, we'll see how up for it people actually are. So yeah, safe to say I'm quite pessimistic at the moment, but I'll keep an open mind.
That is part of the handicap and angle, though, is who you think's going to give it a... That's what I was trying to ask Harry, whether he thought Chelsea would have a go or not be bothered. And if you can pick a team that are going to try, we know it's a bit like the Spanish teams always tried a bit harder in the UEFA Cup back in the day. And the South American teams really want to make a splash in this tournament because it gives them a more global standing. It is effectively it's a warm-up or it's a dress rehearsal for the World Cup next year. They want to try out the stadiums, they want to try out the infrastructure, they want to make sure all that sort of shit works. So by holding a 32-team tournament in those venues 12 months earlier, they'll get a bead on all of that. This is the 21st edition, Barry, of the FIFA Club World Cup. Last 11 winners have been European. Man City are the defending champions. Real Madrid, most winners, 5. Barcelona, 3. Corinthians have won it 3. And Spain, by far, have had the most winners. They've had 8, with England and Brazil 4, Germany 3, and Italy 2. It used to just be the winners of each Champions League, of each association's Champions League. Now any old fucker is allowed in. The first non-European or South American finalist, Barry, was?
I've no idea. You're all about red diamonds.
It was TP Mazembe in 2010.
Yeah, makes sense.
So, little overview. I mean, the top 9 in the betting are all European. Tells you where we are in this competition. So I think we'll start where we're most comfortable, Baz, and that's the 2 Premier League teams for me. Joe's just made a really good point about this has to affect teams in the Premier League season. I just don't know when it will. Will it affect them in August, and will they get a slow start, or will it suddenly hit them in like the middle of January? Do you know what I mean? And we'll just have to try and play that. You can speculate, try and get ahead of the curve, but I don't know when it's going to be. Because like you say, they finished the long season, they're all pissing and moaning. Bruno Fernandes has been off to Malaysia, and then he comes back and plays in this tournament. But there've been players who've then played Nations League, internationals, and now off for a month-long 32-teamer. It's not like it used to be. It used to be semi-final. You beat someone from Australia on the Wednesday, and then you'd play Boca Juniors on the Saturday, and that was it. It's not like that anymore. It's a full-on 32-team.
Just to be clear, Malcolm, Bruno Fernandes definitely isn't playing in this tournament.
He's not playing in this now. Yeah. Man City, 5-1. Relatively easy group. Again, one of the angles being the 14 groups. There's a lot of groups where it's too good, too bad. And then there's some groups where you've got a sort of a tied second place scenario. Man City looks like a too good, too bad group with Casablanca, Al Ain and Juventus in there. So there's no issues there. I just think there's still a little bit of transition, Baz. They didn't look good for large parts of last season. They struggled against the top European teams, whether it was the Premier League teams or Real Madrid or whatever in the Champions League. And also they're trying to settle some new faces in. They have been spending money again. Spent a lot of money in January. They spent a lot of money. So they're still in transition for me, Baz. And 5-1, I think, is too short. And the second one is Chelsea at 10-1. And I'm just not interested in Chelsea. I don't think they're good enough. They're weak. I think they're a little bit mentally weak. They've only got one striker and he's mental. There's not much opposition in the group. I just don't want to bet them. Was me angling on Chelsea, Baz. So Man City and Chelsea for you. As I'll just say hello to Serial. Serial's joined us. Welcome along, mate. Nice to see you. Yeah, Baz, they're the 2 Premier League teams.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't look at Chelsea much at all for the same reasons. I've just got no interest in them. I mean, the first 2 I looked at really was the 2 at the top of the market, which is Madrid and City. And if you said at the start of the season, both Real Madrid and Man City would come into this trophyless, I don't think I'd have believed you. But poor seasons for both of them. I think you can put Real Madrid in all of that same sort of category as you've just talked about for Man City. And I think really difficult to make a case for both of them at the top of the market and have any confidence in them. So my initial fades were going to be the 2 at the top, Madrid and Man City. But absolutely, I don't want anything to do with Chelsea as well. I mean, a European winner is 1-14, which isn't any surprise given the stats you come out with. You've got to go all the way down to 33-1 for Flamengo or Palmeiras for someone outside of the European side. So everything suggests it will be a European side. But yeah, I'm happy to strike a line through the 2 English sides.
Okay, I completely agree. Callum's just asking about sort of top goal scorers and stuff. We're going to do all that on Thursday, Cal. Heading down the European teams, then your favourites, your tournament favourites are Real Madrid at 4-1. They're just short enough for me, really, because they're repeatedly vulnerable against similar level, good European opposition. They couldn't beat Atletico twice. They lost to Arsenal in that semi-final. They lost to Liverpool. They lost against AC Milan. There's just too many blips, too many bumps in the road to get involved at 4-1. PSG at 5-1 have got to be live, because you can't forget that they just what we watched last week. It was very visually impressive, and they had been before that. We've got all that form against Premier League teams. They haven't got the most straightforward group, but they're impossible to ignore. I actually prefer them to Real Madrid at the prices, but I still find them a bit short. Bayern, I think, will get found out against the good teams, like we called in the Champions League a lot. Barcelona, Villa, Inter, Feyenoord. Again, bumps in the road all over for Bayern. They're really good at bullying bad teams, Bayern Munich. We saw that in the Champions League. So that's an angle that I might get back to later in the week. For example, they've got Auckland City in their group. They could run up a score against Auckland City. But I just wouldn't fancy them against anybody good. And the fourth one I'll mention before I give you those four bars are Atletico Madrid. Interesting to me. The form lines are as good as anyone except PSG, really. They lost to Real on penalties in the Champions League quarter-final. Third in La Liga is comparable form to those at the top of the market. We know Barcelona aren't in there, Liverpool aren't in there. Quite a tricky group, which only helps with the price. And that's the selling point. You're getting 3.5 times the price of Real Madrid for Atletico Madrid. And you can't put a cigarette paper between them. Real Madrid aren't 3.5 times the team Atletico are. So Madrid absolutely caught my eye, Baz, at 14-1. Those big four Europeans for you?
Well, PSG will be my main pick, and I realise it's a boring one. But I just think they're coming into it, obviously on a high. They've got the momentum and, relatively injury-free coming into it. They didn't they went into the Champions League final pretty much full strength, and they've got a big enough squad to be able to rotate quite a bit as well. You look at the bench for that Champions League final, they had Barcola, Hernandez, Ramos, Zaire Emery. So they've got plenty of players who can come in and freshen things up as well. I think they'd fancy themselves against anyone after how the seasons went, where they've won everything that was put in front of them. And the route, I thought, looks good. I know they've got Atletico in their group, but Atletico haven't been pulling up any trees this season. Botafogo, and Seattle being the other two. So I think they'll get through that, and then they'll face a team from Group A. The best team in Group A looks to be Porto, and then it's weak from there. So I think quite an easy route through. And you can make that case for most of these European sides. Let's be honest, every one of them should be expecting to get out of the group. And then probably, if you win your group, you'd be expecting a winnable tie in the next round. But yeah, I do like the look of PSG. And you've picked a little bit of an outsider. For me, if I was staying in Europe, I'd have a go at Inter. Now, obviously, Inter are going to be a little bit wounded with how the season ended. They fell away in everything. Lost the league, lost Champions League, lost the cup late on, got knocked out of that late on. But I think that makes it easy to forget how good they were for large parts of this season, in particular in the Champions League, where they knocked out both Bayern and Barcelona. They also looked like they've got a decent group here. And a shot at one of the easier ties in the knockouts. They'd play a team from Dortmund's group, which again, I think looks one of the lighter groups for me. So yeah, the bigger price, Inter would be my underdog. They're around 14-1.
Yeah, so running through the other 5 European teams, Baz, Inter, I just didn't like, obviously, the most recent thing you've seen is them get smashed up 5-0. And they seem to drop off after Christmas from that elite defensive team they were to what they turned into. They just looked very, very beatable. And PSG gave everyone a blueprint on how to beat them. So I put a line through them. Dortmund were just too vanilla. They can't compete with the European big boys. Juve are just a step down, distant fourth in Serie A. Lost in the Champions League to PSV. They struggled with Villa, Bruges, Lille, Stuttgart. Not strong form lines for Juve. Porto are the third best team in Portugal. They could easily lose, actually, to Inter Miami. I think Miami might give Porto a game in their group. Porto could struggle to get out the group here. In Salzburg, I've got no fucking idea what they're doing in. Must have won a competition or something. They lost 7 of 8 in the Champions League. I just think it's very silly, Barry, that Salzburg are in there. Callum has absolutely nailed me. It's episode 1 of Love Island, Baz, tonight. It's just started. So Callum must have spotted my eyeballs. Unsurprisingly, Barry, not on you, but on the contestants of Love Island. There's a load of fellas on there, Barry, who look absolutely nothing like me in my swimming trunks. You won't be surprised to hear. So yes, Callum, well played. You can have 1 show point for spotting that I'm very much watching Love Island. Right, we've got 20 minutes till the MLB show starts, Baz. So we'll have to whiz through the rest. Underdog is going long for the NBA Finals with their extender bonus. Hop in game 1, and the longer the series goes, the bigger the bonus gets. Use our code PLGP to claim a special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code PLGP. You've heard us talk about Rhythm before, but they've just dropped a game-changing feature called Power Trends, which are AI-detected patterns where Rhythm's model has consistently won and has got a high ROI. Power Trends are updated daily and exclusive to Rhythm. Download the Rhythm app, check out Power Trends and start betting smarter. Get your 7-day free trial, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. And finally, we're brought to you by mybookie.ag, your place to bet on every sport, including the NBA Finals and Stanley Cup. MyBookie accepts customers with a ton of locations. Our promo code here is PLGP. That's mybookie.ag. Promo code is PLGP for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000. T's and C's apply. mybookie.ag. Promo code PLGP. Okay. We will go from Europe into South America. I did send you the quite comprehensive dossier, we'll call it, the Tiger sent me. And we believe it's prudent to focus on the Brazilian teams here rather than the Argentinian teams. That's where currently on that part of the cycle, the power dynamic is very much with Brazil. The last 6 winners of the Copa Libertadores, the Continental Championship, have been Brazilian. The last 4 finals have been all Brazilian finals. They're not in a bad spot. They're 11 games into the league season in Brazil. So they kind of should be ready. Like, they should have their lungs filled with air. So, Palmeiras at 33-1. They've got the strongest squad in Brazil. This is all coming from Tiger, by the way. Abel Ferreira is a good tournament manager. He's won the Copa Libertadores and the Brasileirão, whatever that is. Players to watch here are Vitor Roque, the ex-Barcelona player. Estevão, Harry, he is off to Chelsea, so keep your eye on him. And they should get out the group. Flamengo trained at 33-1. They're in Chelsea's group, and I think they'll be looking to pounce if Chelsea aren't fully committed to this, or equally just not good enough. They're currently top of the league in Brazil. They've just signed Jorginho from Arsenal. So there's your team, Joe, for this. Manager is Felipe Luis, ex-Chelsea and Atletico. He's done a really good job. And they score goals, a little bit of enthusiasm and adventure about how Flamengo play. They've scored 24 in 11. Pedro amongst the goal scorers. And Georgion de Arreciata is a striker in good form. Fluminense at 50-1, 5th in the league, almost relegated last season. Started better this time around. They're in the group with Dortmund. Their captain, quite unbelievably, is Thiago Silva, who must be about my age now. And Juan Arias, their attacker, is the player to watch. And Botafogo trading at 50-1 as well. Hard draw for Botafogo. PSG and Atletico in their group is a problem. 2 ex-Premier League players that I couldn't pick out of a lineup would be Alex Telles of Manchester United and Allen of Everton. Exactly, you tell me. They won 2 trophies last year, but they've got a new manager. They lost a lot of their squad to Europe this year. Players to watch: Igor Jesus and Jefferson Savarino. Tiger was less complimentary and articulate about the Argentinian teams. Boca Juniors at 40-1 are shite, is what he said about them. They've got Benfica in the group. I think Benfica might be beatable. And River Plate as well. River Plate, bit of a bigger price, 50-1. They can get out their group. They've got Inter Miami, Monterrey, and Urawa Red Diamonds. So they are favourites to progress, but I think that might just be about it for them. If all of them, Baz, and we might come back to them, Flamengo jumped out to me, but I'll get them involved in my main picks later on, Baz.
I mean, if you think I'm going to have anything to add to that comprehensive review of South America, you'd be sorely mistaken. So well done, Ant, for that thorough analysis of South America.
Okay, do you want me to whiz you through the bottom draw then of the rest of the tournament here? Mexico, Pachuca 150-1, 16th in the league, in Real Madrid. Could get a result against Red Bull Salzburg. And Barry, who is knocking the goals in for Pachuca of Mexico at the minute?
No idea.
Solomon Rondon.
Yeah,
ex-Newcastle United hitman. Favourite thing about Solomon Rondon is when he threatened to kick that eagle up the arse at Crystal Palace. Even if he was reported to the RSPB, he didn't care. Comes near me, I'll kick it up the arse, said Solomon Rondon. Monterrey, 250-1, 5th in Mexico. They've got a key game against River Plate, which if they get a result could get them out of the group. Sergio Ramos is their stalwart at the back. Anything for Mexico, Baz?
No.
Okay. We'll head to North America, into Miami, the Pink Phony Club, if you want to give them that moniker. The American Wrexham. Thought Arnie might be here, but he's not. 3rd in the league. I think they got into this. They had no reason to be here. They won a supporters vote, Barry. That's how they got in. That's how we're in now. A supporters vote. Fucking hell.
And they're
obviously just a money-making scam.
This tournament is a shambles. I mean, the biggest surprise of this whole thing is that they haven't somehow found a way of shoehorning Ronaldo into a team. They
tried last week.
Yeah. Apparently, he had a few offers and he's turned them all down, probably because they were from teams who wouldn't have a chance of winning it. But it's just a shambles that they've managed to find a way of getting into Miami, and just purely for the Messi effect.
They're better this year, sitting 3rd in what course they're on, Eastern Conference, with a couple of games in hand. Messi, Suarez, Busquets, Jordi Alba, and they got some players. They've been given a soft draw, obviously, in Group A. And presumably, Baz, I believe they'll get a series of favourable referee and VAR decisions as well. So look for all of that. But if we know what's going to happen, we could try and turn that to our advantage. I did mention earlier on, I think Salzburg might be in trouble. Oh, sorry, Porto. I think Porto might be the ones who get sawn off by Inter Miami in this. 66-1 Inter Miami. LAFC, 80-1 in a group with Chelsea and Flamengo. They won a playoff last week. They only secured their spot last week by beating Club America in a playoff. Hugo Lloris and Olivier Giroud, the Frenchman, are their starmen. And then Seattle Sounders at 100-1. They're just bang average in the league. They're in an impossible group. And they sold DeAndre Yedlin, so they've got no chance at all. Anything to add to the Americans, Baz, or shall I jet off around the world?
You read out all these names. It just sounds like a veterans league, doesn't it?
Do you know what it sounds like, Baz? Baller League.
It's not Baller League. What was the other one we used to have? Was it the Legends League or something like that? They used to play in the arenas with all the legends of Premier League teams used to turn out, didn't they? I can't remember what it used to be called now. But yeah, the fact we've got half of these lot all turning out for it's just a bit of a veterans football league, isn't it?
Off around the rest of the world. Best of the rest, Baz. 66-1. I don't mind. Al Hilal, Riyadh, the Saudi team in this. Second in the Saudi league. Scored a lot of goals. Scored 95 goals. Top scorer for Al Hilal is Alexander Mitrovic. This is a who's who of all Newcastle strikers here. I'm expecting Malcolm McDonald to be playing up front for Mamelodi Sundowns. 28 goals in all competitions. And they've got a player called Malcolm, which makes me instantly like them as well. 9 goals, 10 assists Malcolm got this year. Milinkovic-Savic is a player you know. Your mate from the World Cup, the Moroccan goalie, Baz. Remember Bunu? Yeah, he plays in goal for them. They're not a bad team at all. They're in with Real Madrid, but they could do Salzburg over, you know. And it's another one where we talked about Inter Miami getting some favourable decisions. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world for FIFA if a Saudi team progressed a little bit. So Al Hilal Riyadh are absolutely live. Neves, who played last night for Portugal, Koulibaly, Cancelo. They'll have a little go, Al Hilal. They won't die wondering. Al Ahly Cairo, pretty experienced, regulars in the African Champions League, play in tough competitions. They're going to be a banana skin for Porto. They'll be a banana skin for everyone, actually, that group. Al Ahly, they're kind of live. El Ain from the UAE, really dull. They've got Man City and Juve to deal with. They're fucked. Ulsan, Hyundai, 200-1, K-League representatives. The two teams have brightened together here, which is probably slightly racist. Ulsan, Hyundai, and Urawa Red Diamonds of Japan. Just because they play how we see Japan and Korea playing World Cups. Do you know what I mean? They're going to be a proper handful, and they'll end up losing 3-2 to somebody in unfortunate circumstances. 250-1 and 200-1, those two. But, Barry, there might be a glitch in the matrix here, because little parts of this I used AI, Barry. And what AI said about Urawa Red Diamonds is, this is word for word, they drew 1-1 with River Plate on June the 17th, and they've still got Miami and Monterrey to play. So the AI's given us the fucking score from June the 17th, Barry. It's 7 days away. They've drawn 1-1, and they've got 2 games left. It's a fucking Swiss. No one's told the AI not to tell us. We're rich. We're all rich. Hand your notice in at work, everybody. Urawa Red Diamonds won. River Plate won. What a result that is. So that's all of that.
You need to bring that up again on the next episode.
No, mate, don't forget. Get on it now before. If I go on this tomorrow morning, the 1-1 draws 8-11. I know someone's had the price away. So we need to set a watch together, and we'll all pile in. Esperance de Tunis, the Tunisian people just completed domestic treble, Barry. 15 clean sheets in 30 games. Tactically very disciplined. Play very much how you see Tunisia, the national team play. Mamelodi Sundowns at 500-1. 8 times in a row they won the South African League. They only conceded 13 goals this season. They've actually got quite a bit of attacking flair. They could get on the score sheet, Mamelodi Sundowns. Might be some BTTS action when we get involved in them. Absolutely the opposite for Waka Casablanca, though. Second in the Moroccan League, but really boring defensive setup. They've got Man City and Juve. I've got an unbelievable bet. The bet, it's like finding money in the street for Casablanca, but I'll leave that till Thursday. And finally, Auckland City, Baz, any price you like. This is their 12th appearance in this tournament. Champions League winners in Oceania. Fixture congestion, Barry, got so bad that in April they played 2 games in one day. That's quite impressive for Auckland City. And that, Barry, from Auckland, I will fly home and land at Newcastle International Airport. We're all the way back, Baz. Whistle stop tour around the world. Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, I mean, if I had a cap on, I would doff my cap to you. But yeah, the amount of effort you've put into that whistle stop tour, because I didn't have the heart for that. Like,
very good. Andy's just joined us in the chat. Andy, you missed the kids' football chat, Andy. You'll have to go back. And we did mention Wrexham as well, not too complimentary. James Mafia has joined us too. James, welcome along. So we make some actual picks, Baz, as well. I've got 2 players here, Baz, in this outright market. The first one is going to be Atletico Madrid at 14-1 each way. Each way is half the odds 1-2, so half the odds to reach the final. And they are actually 3-1 to reach the semi-final, which I don't think is a bad bet as well. It's the prices, Baz. I don't see Real Madrid 4-1, Atletico Madrid 14-1. Being a fair price, they're very, very similar teams. It was a penalty shootout in the Champions League. And for large parts of that tie, a 2-legged tie, I thought Atletico were better. They acquit themselves quite well. 14-1, it was just too big a price. And I'm going to have a little punt at Flamengo, Baz, each way. Sorry, not each way. To reach the semi-finals, 11-2, plus 550 to reach the semi-finals. They're in Group D. I think they'll be able to get out of that group. They will face Group C opposition after that, which is potentially Munich. But I think they could see off Chelsea in this group as well. And if that's the case, then they'll get Boca Juniors or Benfica. So I think we can get a run out of Flamengo. And we know these South American teams, they're in a great place physically, having played 11 games of the season. They'll be ready to hit the ground running. They'll definitely be trying their bollocks off. We've just said we're not sure how overcooked or undercooked the European teams are. The Brazilian teams, the Argentinian teams, they want this. They want to be a part of this. The fans do. Their associations do. So they're not going to die wondering. Flamengo 11-2 to reach the semi-final, Baz.
Yeah, I'm glad you picked something outside of Europe because you're right. At least you know what you're going to get with them. Where there is a little bit of uncertainty around my picks, certainly, which are a little less fancy. I have gone for PSG, as I mentioned before. I'm going to take PSG on the outright at 5-1. My outsider or slight better underdog pick would be Inter Milan, as I mentioned, at 14-1. I just think it's hard to get away from the European teams. So looking for a bit of value. Inter Milan was where I ended up. And my favourite pick would be PSG to get to the semis. I just think the route to the semis looks or certainly the route to the quarters looks very straightforward if all goes as you would expect it to. And you get plus money, PSG, to get to a semi-final. So 5-4 PSG to get to the semis is a pick I really like as well.
Okay, nice one. Thanks, Baz. Games start next Sunday. So it's 1 o'clock in the morning, which is overnight on Saturday, actually. And then there's games at a good time on Sunday. So we'll come back on Thursday. We'll do some group bets. We'll do 20 minutes of group picks, top scorers. And there's loads of good markets on Bet365. They're pretty much, it's a full market, similar to the Euros and the World Cup last time. So if you want something, you should be able to find it. You've got no shortage of options. So we'll have a look around some of the other markets on Thursday, and then we'll do those first set of games for Sunday and possibly Monday. The baseball show starts in 3 minutes, Baz. So I better get going. Is there anything you want to tell the people before we let them go?
No, I'm going to let you go and get on with your baseball.
Okay, MLB Gambling Podcast. Half a show point. If anyone who was in the chat here makes it over there in 3 minutes, it will be noticed. Thank you very much, Barry. Right. Hands have gone up. Everybody, hold your breath. Thank you. Good luck with your picks. We'll see you all down the road.
Cheers.
Cheers.